Okay, we're back. George, where are you going after you leave here?
Home.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, why?
Not me. I'm going to the uncuttruth.com.
Oh. I was like, what?
He's like, huh?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm not going to uncuttruth.com.
Why
I'm
not?
Going to kevinwhitecomedy.com.
Why?
Because he's funny.
Looking. Anyway,
now you
guys, take your asses over there. Real quick, we're going to we don't have any shout-outs for this episode. Thank God. But
August 4th is the next UFC card. That's Jesse's birthday.
yes, that's the UFC on Fox 4, and that will be Mauricio Shogun Hua versus Brandon Vera.
Can somebody explain to me how they're even fighting each other?
Now, I'm going to tell you.
What are they fighting each other for?
So, ready?
Brandon Vera is still in the UFC?
Yes, he is. Now, this is what happens. Okay, this fight is going to take place August 4th, 2012 at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, okay? But let's just go down, George, okay? Who?
You want to go down?
No, I'm not going to go. No, go down, okay? Let's go down what a timeline events. Chad Griggs was expected to face Phil Davis, right?
At this event.
Yeah. However, Griggs was forced out of the bout with an injury and replaced by promotional newcomer Wagner Prado. Okay? Now, that's not just it. Brian Stan, that is, was expected to headline the event against promotional newcomer Hector Lombard.
And we know what he just did.
Lose at UFC 149.
You said Lowe's? That's probably a better improvement.
Yeah, probably a better improvement. However, Stan was forced out of bout citing a shoulder injury, and obviously we know what happened with Lombard. Now, Mauricio Rua now will headline the fight against Brandon Vera, both who were pulled out of earlier cards. Okay, Pablo Garza was forced to withdraw from his fight with John Grisby. Grisby will now face Ronnie Yaya. I believe that's how you say his name. Okay.
Sure.
Terry Adam.
What the fuck happened to Brian Stan?
Was forced to withdraw from the fight against Joe Lauzon. Lauzon will now face Jamie Varner. That is how much. And you know what? This is one of the things on our last episode we talked about.
That drives Dana White absolutely nuts.
Yeah, the injury bug is just killing the UFC right now.
Now, you know what? This card here and the previous card explains to me why Dana White holds so many fighters. Mm-hmm. Because you have to in today's game.
Right.
Because Dana White, I think a month ago or so, made a statement that these guys need to turn it back during their training camps. Like they're going too hard in training camps and ruining their chance to fight.
Right.
Let me tell you what George would do.
What would you do? Lay it on me.
So if it's 6 months out, okay, probably the first 2.5, 3 months, I'd probably go at it pretty good.
Okay.
Live sparring, full fight type thing, Mm-hmm. And then the next 2 months, I'd be dialing it back a little, probably doing more focus for my opponent things. And that last month would be strictly trying to get to weight, doing my cardio, eating right, and doing conditioning training and do light drills. Because let me tell you right now, the money you could potentially get as a win bonus far outweighs probably anything I don't know what the sponsors are paying some of these guys, but like a low-level guy, like a Travis Brown, that win bonus would probably mean a lot more than sitting on the sidelines. So why not dial it back? Like you're afraid you can't perform?
It's just, it's the sport is evolving so fast. I mean, it really is. Like, I look back at the stuff we talked about 2 years ago and we're like, holy shit, it's just so much has changed.
Yeah.
Champions and stuff. But one of the things that's also changed over the last few years is just how young these guys are, how talented they are, how, mixed martial arts was, when it first started, you had the Gracie brothers basically coming in there and showing everybody something that no one knew about. And now it's evolved so much, and everybody's learning different things. But there's so many injuries now that you're actually seeing where the UFC, you could see some fighters in their 30s do well, and a lot of the fighters were in their 30s. Now they're in their 20s, and 30-year-old fighters are becoming older fighters now, and you probably won't see many fighters fighting over 40 like Dan Henderson, these guys. They'll probably start to drop off, and I think probably in a few years, it will be like basketball or football. Guys will start at 19, 20 years old.
Get guys coming up through the ranks. You might have guys at 20 holding belts.
And then basically, their careers are over by the time they're in their late 20s, early 30s. I think it eventually will evolve to that because your bodies just can't stay healthy. I mean, you get banged the fuck up, and you see some of these guys walking around in their mid-30s, and they look like they're fucking older than me, man.
Dude, I'm going to tell you what, and for no one who's ever cut weight or had to make a weight cut,
it's fucking tough.
Dude, it wreaks havoc on your body.
It does.
And the younger you start it, the more fucked up your system's going to be as you get older.
Yeah.
So if you have somebody at 20 who's cutting from like 180 to get down to 155, by the time they're up 28, 29, they're going to be fighting at 170, 185. They're not going to be able to cut that weight. Their body doesn't respond.
And the bottom line is when you're coming up in the ranks and stuff like this, before you're tested or before they're running tests on you, you're taking gear. A lot of guys are taking gear. You know, they're taking PEDs, they're doing whatever to their... What?
There's no... Don't get. I'm sorry if Kevin gave you guys a fucking false hope right there. There's very limited testing in this sport, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon.
He's right.
I don't. So Kevin's trying to be nice and be diplomatic, and I'm not. Because let's face it, because I know how competitive I am, and I know if I'm fighting in a state where it's up to the athletic commission, and the athletic commission, let's say Louisiana, doesn't have enough money to test. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 fighters.
Oh, I'm going
20 blood dude, I will blow the hole out of the bottom of a cup with my urine.
Oh yeah,
my shit will be fucking radioactive.
And you saw that with Chelsonen. I mean, it's you see that with Sonnen. But you see it with a lot of fighters, and you know Hendo and all these fighters. And believe me, there's a rack of fighters. I mean, we're just naming guys that are more popular. Forrest got on. I mean, because the bottom line is, you take gear when you're training. It keeps you, it
keeps you healthy.
It keeps you healthy. You know, growth keeps you healthy. You get you through the injuries, and then all of a sudden your body's natural ability to do some of these things gets suppressed, and then you get in your mid-30s and you're like, fuck it, I gotta have it now just to function normal, you know.
And now that we've sat there and talked about everything but this card, this card looks better than the one that you folks just paid for on pay-per-view. On paper, and mind you, it's still a full 2 weeks away, so who knows what will happen. And by the way, August 4th is Jesse's birthday. August 5th she starts med school. Just saying. Nothing
man.
Important
now,
going on.
The preliminary card,
looks better than the pay-per-view we just.
Well, you got Gamburyan. You've got fucking. I mean, you've got Josh Grisby who just fought. You've got fucking DaMarques Johnson.
Is that dude's name's
Mike
Oil
Swick.
Tom? Oh,
yeah. I mean, Nam Pham, Cole Miller. But this is the thing.
Your boy. You love some DaMarques Johnson.
I think he's pretty decent. But this is the thing that freaks me out. Look who's on the undercard. Look who's in the preliminary card.
Phil Davis.
Phil Davis. Now, Phil Davis was fucking.
Just fought Rashad Evans to see who would fight John Jones.
Right.
And then he gets hurt, and his next fight is on Fuel TV.
Fuel TV. You know what I'm saying? And there's two guys that are fighting in this card. I mean, there's a light heavyweight bout, Lyoto Machida versus Ryan Bader. He's sitting there below them. I mean,
that's the main card, though.
I know, but still, it's just funny that he's on the preliminary. Wouldn't you think that this would be about him fighting? He'd be in a,
Yeah, I thought Phil. I mean, I could easily see Phil Davis be in the place of Joe Lauzon and Jamie Varner, but I mean, I guess maybe his faith in Phil Davis is starting to run out.
I mean, seriously, look at there's 4 light heavyweights fighting on the main card, and Phil Davis, who was one of the supposedly best light heavyweights out there or contenders, is no longer on the main card. Right. That's just funny.
Now, on the main card, let's look. We don't have stats. We don't know. We're just gonna go off straight gut. This is just a gut feeling. I don't give a shit who you fought, which is quick reaction.
Right.
All right. Main card: Joe Lauzon versus Jamie Varner. Who you got?
Joe Lauzon.
Okay, I'm going with Varner.
Yeah.
Travis Brown versus Ben Rothwell.
Travis Brown.
That's going to be a fucking slugfest.
Now, I'm going to tell you what. I said Travis Brown real quick, but I remember Ben Rothwell, the last fight, looked sharp.
I'm going with Ben Rothwell.
He looked really good. He seemed really dedicated. So, you know what? Remember I said that if I picked that shit wrong. So I don't let the, whatever.
Now, Machida versus Bader. This is just, you want to talk about styles make fights? These styles couldn't be any more different if you tried. Granted, I mean, no one has Lyoto Machida's style. No one fights like him, let's face it. But Ryan Bader... I'm going with Machida.
I'm going with Machida, too.
Via head kick.
Machida's going to knock him out. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to say Machida is going to knock him out in the third.
Mochi. That would be the end of the fight.
Yeah,
I got Machida kicking him upside his head in the second.
Second?
Yep.
Now, I got to go with Shogun, man. I mean, I don't even understand why this. I think this is a huge mismatch. I don't know. I mean, maybe.
I agree.
Brandon Vera is nasty. Don't get me wrong.
Word on the street was, just happened chance that they said Shogun, they gave him the opportunity to fight Glover Teixeira.
Yeah.
And Shogun was like, nay.
Yeah,
now that I don't know. I might have had a source.
Yeah.
Said that Mauricio had a chance to fight Glover. Now I know they're both Brazilian, but he was like, nay.
I'm gonna look up something real quick.
But but here's my thing. Like we've watched Shogun in the past. We've watched him lose to Forrest, and let's face it, Forrest is going to go down in history, supposedly have the greatest fight ever in the UFC history, blah, 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 yank your dick. And in 4 more years, no one's ever going to remember that fight. Because,
yank a dick?
Yeah, no one cares.
Right.
And we get to now watch Shogun fight Brandon Vera. No offense to Brandon Vera, but I don't think you were ever in title contention in the history of the UFC. And if you were, hats off to you. But I don't remember it.
This is the thing. Shogun is 4-1 odds over Vera. But
it just so depends on what Shogun shows up.
Yeah.
He's so hurt so often, and he never tells you. You don't know. Like, I'm not taking anything away from either one of these fighters, but, Shogun could lose this fight. The last time we saw Shogun,
he's been fighting viciously.
He got beat on by Dan Henderson, and
but I'm
going to tell you,
he got beat on by Dan Henderson. I'm a Dan Henderson fan, but I'm going to tell you what, if it went another round, he would have won the fight. Because Dan Henderson was running out of steam, and he got, the thing was he got beat, but he didn't fucking go out. He was tough as shit.
Yeah. So
he's been in some wars.
Brandon Vera don't have that kind of power.
No.
So I'm going with Shogun. I hope Shogun wins because I like him and he fights hard.
Anyway, yeah. So I got Shogun. You got Shogun.
Namfan is on the undercard. We already said that. I'm just because I switched papers. Yes. I want him to win over Cole Miller.
Anyway, that is it. We are wrapping up. That is our coverage, our pre-fight coverage of the UFC on Fox 4. We're out. Later.